Bones are amazing things. They hold us up. They support us. They make us strong. But bones have other uses. In the past, bones were thrown by diviners, seeking out the mysteries of the future. Now the bones are cubes, made of plastic or resin, but they still reveal things to us. As they fall from our fingers and rattle across the table, the story becomes clear. Welcome to Bone Throwers Theater, an RPG actual play podcast.
Welcome back to Bone Throwers Theater. My name is Jeff.
Usually playing.
Oh, I usually play Jerr Lan.
And this is Jeremy, and tonight I have been playing Julian. It wasn't me, Illix.
I am Ellie, and I usually play Archi.
I am Aaron, and I usually play Sam, Gone with the Wind. Feluge.
I'll never be hungry again.
I'm Johnny, and I play Chime North.
And I'm Jordan, and I play Disappearing Buildings.
That was dope, by the way.
That last scene, oh my goodness. That's going to be a fun one.
There was a lot of dope scenes in that last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good episode.
Well, it was like, we're getting to the point where you go big or you go home.
Pretty much.
And I'm at home, so I guess you
go bigger.
Guess you got to go big. And we're trying to wrap up the show, and I feel like for this show, it's a much bigger, like, it's turning into a blockbuster movie compared to the end of Angel's Guard.
Yeah.
I feel like the end of Angel's Guard, it was a solid campaign, really well done, but I feel like this is the action movie.
Yeah.
Right. Where the end of Angel's Guard had that one really intense action scene in the basement of the ship, if you want to call it that, the lowest level of the ship.
Of the oubliette.
Yeah, with the water tank and everything. That was a really intense scene.
Yeah.
However, that was probably the only action in the last, 3 episodes of that where it's like here we're hitting major action scenes every session. And this one was phenomenal, fantastic.
Yeah.
As players, Jordan, we were blown away. Was like, wait, what just happened?
I try
Just mind blown.
I try and keep a step ahead of you guys, but sometimes it's harder than others.
Well, yes, you try and keep a step
That's why
ahead.
you keep a step behind us. That way you can trip us up.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But then there comes the point where, as always, you keep that step behind and then trip us up, and then we get 2 steps ahead and trip up you again, which I think happened tonight as well, because I think you were wanting that gold helmet, the shadow, to be
a big bad.
Well,
He wasn't big bad.
He was big bad.
But
Like the leader or something.
it felt like the kill shot. You were like, oh, this is going to be a kill shot. Okay.
Well, so here's the thing, is the shadow, I knew it wasn't the void, but I wanted to play with the language a little bit to make you guys confused.
Yeah.
Well, okay, yes. And as players, you have given us the rundown of what the council names are. In game, I don't think
We never
know
heard of
that.
Shadow.
No.
So, in game, when Sam said it's the shadow, Julian will probably have been like, the shadow. The shadow? Okay.
Other than knowing that it's definitely a council member,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, that's
It's
a new
we never
council
heard of
member.
before.
Okay, this one is the shadow.
But I also think that it helps to keep track of which ones we kill.
As players, yes.
Well, as characters,
As characters
well.
also.
Well, yes.
Specifically, we know how many there are. We know, or we are learning how many there
Yes,
are.
we are learning.
However, Jordan has thrown in a weird thing.
With North.
Yes.
Because I thought he's dead.
Yeah, we all thought he was dead.
Yes.
Killed the flame.
The question is, do they really die?
Well, we have the body of this current Shadow here.
But do they really die?
Right, because we killed
The vessel dies.
the flame. But then it was said that
I
Sam
recognize-
recognized the voice of the flame.
Right, as Miss.
And also, you said recognized Katana. And I was like, wait a second.
She must have made it back, or
Well, yeah.
She never did.
Well-
She was on her way back when
Well,
he got killed.
Well, see, that was my question. Is like
When the shadow got killed.
her helmet wasn't connected to the network
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it's all.
because when he tried a helmet outside the dome, it didn't work.
There's also the fingerprint, quote unquote, IDs, some security stuff that's built into the helmet. The wearer has some access, but not all of them, if you know what I mean.
So wait, you're saying Katana didn't make it back to the city?
Katana was on
She
her
was
way back
en
to the city
route to the city.
and got immediately teleported to a room when Shadow died. Just as I got immediately teleported to this same room, as well as North.
Which is the really confusing one.
So, and that's what
So basically, the dead man switch is when a council member dies wearing the helmet, the rest of them get teleported
To a
Yeah,
safe step.
to a safe house.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but then what's confusing here is North being there.
Yes.
Because he, from our understanding, he died not wearing a helmet.
True.
Because we knocked his helmet off and we killed him.
I think
he
Jeff
goes
was the
boom.
only one who heard what I just said.
yeah.
The vessel dies.
Right. So how would I recognize the vessel's voice? Like,
Because
Oh.
the elemental
Elemental.
changes the person's voice.
okay.
Because, and that happened in season 1 when Julian was talking to the fire elemental and it chose to use the voice of his mother.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Okay.
is the voice exactly the same? Probably not. Does it sound like Mr. North?
Yes.
And you would recognize the voice, you would probably recognize it, Sam, as Katari's voice, since
I didn't.
potentially could have met Katana as well.
And now we know that there was a twin and
Their voices were almost identical.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That was fun.
It's kind of scary.
but that only works for the proxies council members.
Yes.
The other council members, such as the Shadow, there is no vessel and
Yes.
There's nothing to carry on
So,
essence.
so when an innate member of the council dies, their council name dies as well, and a new council non-deplume is chosen.
So you're about to find out how many council people there actually are
Alive.
alive. Yes.
alive.
That had helmets
Before
on.
they beat the snot
That had
out of
helmets
you.
on.
so this is the first non-proxy council member
We have off.
Yeah.
Air had his helmet off.
True.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
Which is why the dead man switched to activate then.
Yeah.
So did the Flames.
Right. So his dead man switch didn't activate either. But we were able to. We still killed the vessel. We still killed North himself.
But his elemental.
Yeah.
What I kind of want to happen is for Sam and Shade to be recruited onto the council.
So, okay, as Aaron, as a player, I have brought up that idea because,
Uh-huh.
to be honest,
Yes.
that's what Sam wants.
Yes.
But in previous conversations, I've gotten the impression that Shade would be replaced with the elemental that was air, and Sam and Shade are not for that. If Sam and Shade have to split for that to happen, at this point, something else would need to go on before they would do that willingly.
Yeah.
Well, at this point as well, the question would be, would the council even know how to do that without killing Sam? Separate Sam and Shade without
Oh, that's a good question.
killing him. Because that apparently was new to the animal preserve.
Or we could dual bond me with 2 air elementals.
Oh, you could really fly then.
Are you sure you want to attempt that?
Shade doesn't want to share, though.
No, Shade would not. Yeah, same thing.
Shade's a very jealous air elemental. Jealous.
Jealous.
Shade is a very jealous god.
Shade looks at themselves as a very benevolent god, though.
Friend. Benevolent friend.
Benevolent friend.
Owner. Participant.
Shade keeps their chattel in the best of condition.
Keeper.
Keeper. I like that term.
Yeah, keeper.
Archie, what did you think of tonight's incidents? Or Ellie, I guess I should say at this point. Sorry.
I am Archie.
I
Say
feel
what?
bad.
Ellie, give it 1 out of 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
I feel bad for Archie.
Actually, that if I had a vote on best role playing moment of the night, that would have won.
Yeah.
What?
When you
Cutting off
remove
your own hand.
Really?
Yeah, to use it as a weapon.
To use it as a weapon. Yeah. Solid role playing.
That's
Well, thank
that's
you.
impressive.
Yeah.
Self mutilation in the name of the greater good is always impressive
Right.
in
Name
role
of the
playing.
Good.
Oh, I also like that we were talking about that before. Was that when did we discuss the hand removal from 127 Days?
Oh.
Oh, yeah,
100%
yeah. We
hours.
were talking about that at the beginning.
Before Archie had to take their hand off.
Yeah.
So it might have actually been a little bit of a subliminal prompt.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't thinking about it, but that's nice. I don't know. I think I was kind of worried for my character at one point.
I think we all were.
Uh-huh. I was worried for everybody.
It was like, it almost was like I defied the odds or just got lucky. There was a lot of luck tonight.
Yeah. There was a lot of bad luck tonight, too.
Yeah.
Some of
yeah.
the rolls were just...
I mean, there has to be a balance.
I am
There's a lot of
benevolent
fate
God.
points being thrown around.
I think I was kind of shaking in my boots thinking, oh my gosh, I actually might have to create another character on here tonight.
I thought so as well.
Yeah.
At
That's
one
fine.
point, at first it was, oh, there's no more Archie. Ellie's going to have to create a new character. And then
And then-
after you were able to fly up above the
Oh, I got
building,
lucky.
then I was like, Jer's gone now.
Yeah.
Because that
Oh,
was
yeah.
like coming down.
It was like
Yeah.
round 2 for
Yeah,
Jerr.
round 2, I'm gone.
Yeah. And then Sam disappears.
Well, no, as we're running towards the building and you're talking about this
No,
plasma thing, I'm like, crap. Like, the three of us out in the street right outside this building are going to be gone.
I was also really excited that I thought of that idea. I was just like, I can communicate with them. I can communicate.
That was a really
Yeah, that was good.
That was the one that I was really excited about. I love the hand idea. I think that was like really like, okay, I'm going insane here. There's nothing left to do. My own self I'm cutting apart just to get myself out of the way.
Archie's hand is going to become a villain in the last. It's going to be the boss monster for the last.
It's going to be a hand with a helmet on it.
like a hermit crab.
You know, like in Return of the Jedi, the brains walking around in the jars with the spider legs.
Yep.
That's going to be Archie's hand at the end of the day.
But yeah, definitely reaching out to Sam. I think it was super lucky that you had
The radio.
the radio and not Julian, because what were you gonna do? I mean, no offense, like, but you wouldn't have.
You would have just launched fire and
Well, no.
ball begging in.
Yeah,
Because I think the nature of how the training happened,
We all kinda knew
everybody
about it.
would have been sort of aware.
Especially
of
if it
what
makes
was
a big a boom as
going on.
that.
Especially,
Right.
yeah. When you guys trained on the airship and had the cue word of plasma, and all of a sudden, if Chime and Julian are just eating a meal on the ship, and then all of a sudden, boom! We're like, okay, what was that? And we're going to investigate
Yeah,
and see you guys
I mean,
training.
we did this for how
and
long?
then kind of had the idea, all right, this plasma thing is no joke.
Yeah.
It was
So-
probably like an automatic hint for you. That's probably like why you tried to dodge and
Right,
cover.
right.
Because of that. You were like, oh my gosh.
That's what I was thinking. It's like, because of how the training happened while we were all on the airship.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
everybody would have been aware of
Some
some of the details behind all of this stuff.
Right.
So I don't know if it would have made maybe a split-second difference if Julian or Chime had the radio, because it would have still been, we would have heard plasma, Archie, help, and Julian probably at that point would have been like, Sam, plasma? Duck and cover.
Right.
Okay, I can see that too.
But it would have probably been a split second later, just
Right,
because it
because
had to
I
relay.
mean, like I said, I think I decided when I did the street steady stream, it wasn't just one giant firebolt that just shot out at once. It was like a steady stream. That would have worked anyways too, because I was going to do it regardless, knowing full well that they would have gotten bigger if it didn't go across. So I really kind of wanted to put the drama back into the relationship too for a second there. Julian and Archie were getting along too much for my liking.
I kind of like that too, because honestly, as much as we have said that Sam could at any point kill anybody, anyone of the group, and there's probably reason for it. Maybe twisted reasons from Shade's point of view. There's probably reason for it. It seems
Logical
like
reasons.
it seems like, especially for the characters of, we already talked about how Chime is already there, has this unspoken bond with Sam.
Yeah.
But for the other characters, Archie and Julian have a desire to create that bond with Sam's character.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fitting that when Sam disappeared, the reactions sort of happened the way they did, because Archie's character got super upset about it, and Julian's character, what I was trying to portray, is got also very upset about it, but was
more
more
reclusive.
internalizing that reaction. That's why he pushed past everybody and just went straight to the body and wasn't going to have a conversation about it.
Right. Honestly,
And I was just in shock.
yeah, Aaron and I talked about it a little bit before the recording, but it was there's going to obviously be bonding when you're training together. You got to work closely. You have to, be close.
Right.
You got to understand each other. And twice
Especially
now that we've
combining
done our combining abilities, like we have to be
In
sync. And
Yeah.
the way that we've pulled those off has to show off how in sync we are. And I think that reaction that I had, where I'm like, Sam, dude, I was running out. Archie was running out to say,
You're
like,
excited.
oh my gosh, we did it! That was the one that we didn't always get. And just to understand that she's completely gone.
What I think is funny is Sam initially brought up the idea of all that training in a manipulative manner because Sam had ruined a lot of their trust.
Sam was on the cusp of getting hurt.
Really?
And so Sam manipulatively brought up this idea of training together to build this trust and these relationships back after everything that Sam had done with trying to kill Katari, who is still dead.
Maybe.
Who is missing at this point.
Is anybody really dead in this game?
Apparently
We don't
not.
know. We don't know.
Yeah, and just how that played out. That, as a matter of fact, twisted attempt to get everybody to like me again worked.
It's a shame that you and Shade couldn't witness it.
Right.
Be like, ha ha ha. No, yeah, I think the role playing in everybody's minds was really well done tonight. I think in respects to, even with that one scene where Sam is gone, your reaction and Chime's reaction, Archie's reaction was definitely
Jerr had
some
like
good
the
role-
least reaction.
Well, you were just on super god mode. I'm sorry.
You were like, what?
Who are you plebes again?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah,
it
it was
was a
like,
lot of good role playing tonight with
Man
that
appears,
scene.
building disappears. Man falls, sand disappears.
One thing that I
Where
think
is Julian going?
one thing I think is funny. This body lands next to Archie and Jerry, and you just guys walk away from it.
I guess someone was in the building we weren't expecting.
We did walk away from it, didn't we?
So I think some of the chance, the way things played out was very fitting as well. We talked about, I really still want to see that visual of Jerr just diving out of the window, controlling all the water, and then just landing in another superhero fashion. Just
Yes.
like he climbed out of the sewer, now he is descending, landing, and all this water around him and landing in this very heroic pose. That was very good.
Yeah.
And then just the timing of the dialogue when we took out the shadow.
Yeah.
What are you doing wearing Air's helmet? Oh, we took it from him right after we killed him. And then the shot happens that kills.
Yes.
Yeah, too bad you destroyed a helmet in the process.
Yeah.
Imagine if
The gold
if
helmet.
that was a scene in a movie or a show, you would just be focused on that helmet person or shadow, whoever it was, and then all of a sudden you're like, "What? Who shot him? Who shot him? Who shot him?" And just pans over to Julian.
Well, no.
Just the head nod and a smirk.
See, the way I pictured it was like you're in the Shadow's helmet having the conversation with Sam. Right after we killed him, and you just hear "bow," and you just pan out and see the body falling.
I've pictured it differently. I pictured it like you see it outside of the helmet, like a close-up of the helmet, and it's like looking down off the top of the building right after we killed him, and then you hear the shot, and then time slows down, and the music slows down, and you see the reflection of the bullet traveling in the reflection of the helmet towards it.
I just love listening to all of the different descriptions of this one scene that we all
It's a lot of
experienced.
perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just goes to show like how the imagination works differently for each and every one of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to keep a wide pan view on everything because I was dealing with multiple angles and like people doing superhero plunges and people disappearing. And I'm like, I have to think 3 steps ahead of you guys to know what the actual end of the episode is going to be.
Yeah.
I think we need to start a chat with just the rest of us.
No!
Minus Jordan.
No! No!
What do you mean start? They already exist.
No!
They already exist. And I'm not joking.
I have gotten messages. Hey, so me and Jeff and Johnny were all talking. And here's our ideas for the next 6 weeks.
But yeah, that scene is going to stick with me for
That
a
whole
long
sequence of
time.
events
That
was
was
very-
fantastic. And even transitioning from that scene into the cliffhanger scene with Sam in the council safe house. I can imagine just that scene that cinematically from Sam's perspective, like the camera is on Sam and you're hearing all of this stuff in the background and just close up of Sam's face reacting. It's like, oh crap, this is where I am. Oh my goodness.
And then that's where, as soon as Sam can hear people searching, it's like, all right, quick reaction, boom, darkness, and that didn't go so well. But
So before Sam heard the other voices, all I could think of was the show The Good Place.
I think I actually quoted The Good Place at one point this evening, so that might be why.
where I was actually dead. This is my afterlife.
But no, seriously, I think everything fell so well into line tonight. It was like boom, 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 boom.
Except for Sam disappearing.
The first couple of episodes were like, well, this is fallout from last time. This is set up. And then it was like, action, 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 action.
I'm just going to ignore all of that. I'm going to do my own thing.
What I liked about that was, and I commented when it was happening, about the parallel in Archie making our new gear to us in Angel's Guard getting the Cold Forge stuff. And how we all got geared up and equipped and headed off and did the
adventure.
And then in this one, we're gearing up, we're heading out, we're about
And the
to head out.
adventure comes to us.
Right.
Except for we didn't get our gear.
I mean, you will eventually, but
But I picture it almost like, as I mentioned, I'm watching through Marvel stuff. I picture it like, you see these movies by these people, and you're like, oh yes, we know what A is going to lead to B, is going to lead to C, is going to lead to D. And then the next movie, A is going to lead to B, C, E. Wait, what?
Where did that come from?
That's what just happened tonight.
Yeah.
We were, I was expecting, all right, this is how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
And it was nowhere near that. And it was awesome.
Yes.
the definite turning point
Thank you
was
very
I literally thought I was just setting up, finishing, tinkering with the weapons and the armor and the enhancements to have that wrench thrown in there about all of a sudden there's a couple of creatures coming out. Nope, they're by the hundreds now. Ridiculous, but that was definitely the turning point where it's just like, this is no longer a boring set up the plans. This is happening right now.
They had to be attracted to you or something. Yeah.
I think it was the radio that we were using.
No, because Jordan said it at the beginning. You didn't realize that the kaiju was in segments. So, hint before, Gardner said, yeah, whenever soldiers approach it, they seem to be trying to control it or corral it or do something with it, not trying to fight it. I think that was this uber kaiju tech thing that was searching the streets for something in particular and led to us.
But so I asked this when it first showed up. I'm like, did it ever actually attack Archie? And
That's
Jordan
what I was
said
gonna
no.
say.
It was just swarming.
It was just swarming.
We
but
don't know if it was going to be something that would attack us.
it attacked
Gardner ripped its whole throat out.
Right.
Yeah, it did attack
Right.
Gardner.
But that was after the scene started with Archie shooting fire and like
Right.
it became
They were just hanging on.
Right.
What do you think the gears with fangs are?
We made assumptions that the Gears with Fangs was the animal preserve and the Gears with Fangs is actually this kaiju thingy. This
Or this, what do you want to call it, other branch of the North Consiglio army
Yeah.
that does all its search and destroy missions with
This
kaiju.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that's why this councilman, the Shadow, was in my mind, there and waiting to handle the aftermath.
That's how it appeared to me too.
Yeah.
It wasn't there as a response. Was there as
get ready to wrap things up.
As oversight. Yeah.
To make sure it gets done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which brings into question some of the Department of Tenement Implosions. You even said that, but at some point. So, obviously, some people have seen legitimate tenement implosions before. But other instances of it, maybe you hear just this rumble, and then there's this big cloud of dust, and then it's
Could they
gone.
legitimately be feeding kaiju? Could the Department of Tenement Implosions be feeding kaiju?
Well, yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Why not? I mean, as long as the materials from the implosion are handled and sent somewhere, then...
All because my dog decided to play with a squeaky toy like a season and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, we were saying this kaiju in segments
Might have had nothing to do with us.
Well, obviously, it was searching for something.
Yes.
Because Gardner said it kept getting
It was circling
closer
around, yeah.
and
But it was
closer.
circling before we ever showed up there.
Yes. I think it was looking for Gardner.
Could have been looking for
I
Gardner.
think they're looking for androids.
Yeah, but why were they just hanging on to me and then Gardner was just torn apart?
Trying to assess if
they
you were...
recognize the elemental within you.
And they don't know that you are now fixed. You could be a second...
I'm still a part of their system. They don't know.
Uh-huh.
Why would they harm one of their own?
I love it. And Jordan's like, I didn't think of any of this.
That's exactly right.
This means we could use this to our benefit if we find that out.
Good.
Yeah.
If your characters can think of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If our characters, not yours.
I mean, I imagine.
dead.
I mean, Jer's still here. We'll have a discussion,
good
and
place.
we'll be like, "Well, where's Gardner? Torn apart to shreds? Really? It didn't touch me."
Let me remind you of something that I commonly say, and you never seem to listen to. I don't have answers.
Yeah. He
I
waits for us
just
to
present
discuss.
problems.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, when Sam was transported through the
Into the good
helmet,
place.
into the good place, Sam was also given extra abilities, and so Sam can control all of the elements now.
no.
Nice try.
Nice try. Does that make Ted Danson Mr. North
Yes.
Yes.
and Janet Katana?
Yes. Yeah. A good episode. Good session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Should we talk about the hard stuff?
Yeah. No.
well, I mean, the harder stuff to keep track of. Yeah, we're keeping track of all the councilmen's names and the ones that we've crossed off, but we seem to be creating more and more big enemies within the council as we go along. Because already from season 2, we kind of have foreshadowed that the Void is going to be this big bad.
The Void's power is actually to force basically someone's soul out of their body.
Yeah.
Right. So, and foreshadowed because it is the counterpoint to what Julian can do. Julian can force an elemental out, whereas the Void can force a human consciousness out for an elemental to take up permanent soul ownership of that vessel.
Mhm.
So, there's that setup. And then at the end of season
Void right
3,
now.
we set up Katana, and now we've actually had the first spoken role of Katana as we know Katana,
Yeah.
and
She a foul mouth, bro.
it seems like she has a temper,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
which is not like Katari.
Yeah.
So a lot of things aren't done. Who's to say your daughter's not there?
There's a lot that, well, as characters, we don't understand about how elementals actually work. There are some things that elementals have said that this is the way things work, and other elementals have contradicted that. Elementals have chosen to show something, because one of the things that happened in season 1 was the elemental that was once in Julian's mother that ended up in Julian's adopted daughter. That elemental tried to sort of relay the message that elementals could choose to release somebody's consciousness. They don't have to retain it. And tried to show that to Julian in that the daughter was actually released and not held on to. Who knows if that was actually true or not.
That just got me thinking about Jer's relationship with his elemental. that it wants to work with Jerr instead of taking consciousness from him. So it won't be like a North adapting its consciousness to Jerr or the other way around.
Right.
Which is probably why it never spoke to me.
Maybe that's the thing. The more interaction it has, the more it latches onto that personality. And
So-
Which would make sense.
One thing that I firmly believe as a person, and this is Jordan's personal philosophy coming through, this is not hard and fast, is that everybody has a different experience in life, right? Mm-hmm. And so I believe firmly that everybody has a different answer to all of the fundamental questions. Some of those answers are better than others, but everybody has something that they've come up with that helps them get from point A to point B in the day. And so I think that's kind of reflected a lot in how I portray characters, especially how I portray elementals and NPCs, because I feel like the NPCs contradict themselves all the time. Mm-hmm. And yes, in part it's because sometimes I'm not the best of note takers when I GM, so sometimes I forget things. But more often than not, I play it as this is what the character actually believes. Even if you say, well, but what about what this person said? I'll typically lean into it and say, yeah, I know, but this is what this person is saying to you right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing that I bring to my game mastering, is this idea that to make a character fully alive, you have to give them their own set of beliefs and desires.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's why elementals, even though they're all the same, they're from the same place, and they have, a similar background and everything like that, they all have very different perspectives on their relationship with each other and also their relationship with humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important part of the story.
Yeah.
Yet another reason that the 3x3 is important.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I am looking forward to when we begin another session, sitting down and coming up with a whole bunch of 3x3s just for myself, for NPCs. Because I think that will give me a lot more flexibility to work with. I think I've been pretty good up to this point, but it was like kind of a mental aha moment that I had where I was like, you know what? This would be really interesting to do for myself, not just to have the players do.
Yeah.
Which is a little ridiculous that I hadn't thought of it before this, but
And it just literally a stack of index cards of a bunch of 3x3s that you can just draw one out and be like,
this is this week's villain.
yeah.
So, best role-playing.
I don't know if it was that heavy of a role-play session.
It really wasn't, but...
And my vote leans towards Archie, because Archie was role-playing in combat.
Yeah.
Like, through Archie's combat, there was role-playing happening. The removing a hand, the Rocket Man.
That was very creative. You had so many creative ideas for what your character could do.
Well, thank you. I think the Rocket Man really rested on Jeremy's
because I
shoulders.
remember that. That's what Jordan did with a fire proxy in season 1.
Mm-hmm.
That plus Archie going back to when we were first introduced to Archie as this weapons manufacturer, this equipment manufacturer.
Yes.
That throwback was also pretty golden.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I like that, going back to that, because as soon as you were like, do you got equipment? Blah,
Yeah.
blah, and I knew
He
exactly
brought
what I
that
was
up.
like, yes.
He was like, I lost track of you, so I had to go out for more. I'm like, so you must have more equipment, huh?
Yes. I would vote Archie for the same reasons.
Well, thank you.
Those are pretty solid reasons.
Sounds fairly unanimous.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
How many points do we get?
Oh, yeah. 10.
I do have to say that I felt like I needed to do something creative this session compared to the last couple sessions. I felt like my character Archie hasn't really done anything since we left the animal preserve. That was really, this helps a lot. Or ever since that big climax of the multi-characters and Archie being, Huracan and all kinds of whoever he was, it felt like my character was writing, and I feel like I was trying to be a little more creative today, but not, oh, guess what, guys? I'm still the big bad.
To be fair, though, to your character, there are ebbs and flows for each character in terms of where they are in the story. Like, season 1 was very much Chime's story.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Season 4 seems like it's turning into Jerr's story. And season 3 was definitely Archie's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once we got to the preserve, I would say the journey there was Julian's story.
Oh yeah, the journey there is
Yeah.
definitely Julian's story.
Yeah.
And now we're at the point where it's Sam's story.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean,
Sam's story was always going to be a tragedy, bud. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Sam versus the council.
In essence of it, I just felt like I needed to bring a little pizzazz as a role player.
Yeah, no, and I think you did a good job of incorporating your role playing
Well, thank you.
into the action.
Thank you. I didn't. It wasn't
Yeah.
more so like, oh, look at me, look at me. I wanted to add some storyline. So
Character advancement.
This one I think is really tough.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm actually going to go with Sam
Okay.
because this whole teleportation to what we're calling the good place is one step closer to one of
call it the
Sam's
good place.
close.
Let's call it the good place.
Let's call it the bad place.
The okay place.
The okay place.
So your vote is for Sam,
Sam.
Yes, my vote is for Sam for
getting closer to
getting
being on
a
the
step
council.
closer to being on the council. Even though
It-
it's sort of a sideways backward step, it's still a step closer.
I don't know if that's a step closer to being on the council.
It's a step closer to being with the council.
I mean, so we never really talked about how somebody gets on the council. It could be that you just kill somebody and you get their helmet, and that's how you become on the council. I mean, we haven't really talked about that.
I'm gonna say Jerr with healing himself and that quick response of hopping out the window.
And not just the healing himself, but the part where he is continuing to further his advancement with working with his elemental. Because that healing wasn't just him patching himself up.
Right.
That was a continued from the previous session where he starts working with his elemental hand in hand instead of despite or separate from.
See, I would actually go with Archie for the same reason we were saying before, with the going back to the weapons building and rebuilding the character of who Archie was before he was corrupted.
Becoming himself again.
Yeah.
So I would pick either Archie or Sam. Honestly, if that means that there's a tie, which means Jordan, you would have to break it. So I think, Jordan, you should just pick.
It's a 3-way tie.
We both voted for Jerr.
Mm-hmm.
2 for Sam. 2 for Archie.
Yeah. Archie.
So anybody but Chime or Julian?
Yeah.
Hi.
Done and done.
I'll take it.
I'm going to go with Sam for the very specific reason that a lot of times Aaron has shared with me he does not feel like he's played Sam to the fullest extent. And tonight, Sam was very proactive in the choices that were made. Like,
Okay.
With the box.
you've been sitting on this helmet now for nearly a season and a half, and this is to put it on at such an important moment is really
Yeah,
vital.
you were waiting for
Yeah.
the exact
You were
moment.
waiting
Yeah.
for the exact moment,
And
you
I like
found
that
it.
because that was said early on. I don't think now's the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So this is a reward not only for character advancement done within the gameplay, but it's also a character advancement for Aaron as a role player, and I think that should be highlighted as well.
Nice.
Now the real tough stuff.
Now, I'm voting for the pumpkin creme brulee. So, before we lead with that, let's run
back a
down.
little bit.
Run down. So we had, as mentioned, pumpkin creme brulee.
From previous commentaries, we know that was going to be Aaron's vote.
Right. It's
Because
pumpkin.
pumpkin.
Because pumpkin. So we had that. We had a non-competitor of chili. We had, I don't know,
Donuts, fritters.
we had apple and peach fritters. We had an spicy apple cinnamon pull apart monkey bread.
Oh, yeah.
We had buffalo ranch pop chips.
Yep.
And what else was the other thing you brought?
Apple
cider.
Cider donut Oreos.
Apple cider donut Oreos, which
Those are really good.
Which were better than they should have been.
yeah.
And then
I-
a charcuterie board.
And then the charcuterie board, cheese and sausage and crackers.
So, to be honest, I feel like, to me, Oreos and Frosties are very sacred. You don't mess with them. Vanilla Frosties are nasty.
Uh-huh.
No, vanilla,
Vanilla
Frosty is
Frosties
the
are
best.
nasty.
Chocolate is the best.
Chocolate
The
Frosties.
vanilla
all the way.
Frosty is.
The only way to really experience Oreos properly is a standard Oreo or double stuffed Oreos.
Mega
I don't.
Mint
Mega
Oreos.
stuffed is a little too much.
Yeah, mega stuff's too.
I don't like to eat my toothpaste.
Yeah.
I'm not a mint Oreo fan.
I
So
love the mint ones.
I thought they were very tasty, but they were not Oreos.
No, and that's the thing. Oreo really puts a lot of time and thought and testing into their stuff. All right, so gluten-free cookies have been out for what, years? 5 years or
Longer
so.
than that, yeah.
Gluten-free Oreos weren't released until just this past year because they really, really worked on making sure their gluten-free Oreo tastes like a frickin' Oreo.
It's better than a Glutino. I'll give it that. It's still not a
Quite.
real Oreo.
But no, it tastes like an Oreo. And I think, so that's why when you say it wasn't an Oreo really focuses on their flavors and what their cookies taste like.
Yeah,
So,
it's true.
I want my dopamine
That
to be
was-
chocolate
We're really
and
going
cream.
to depth about some Oreos.
so as I stated, my vote is still for
creme brulee.
the pumpkin creme brulee because pumpkin.
Can we create a new category of which food gets the most conversation?
Hashtag not Oreo.
No, Oreo's got all the conversations
Not
so
Oreo.
far.
He's about to write his term paper on it.
Anyway, votes.
One vote for creme brulee.
I'm gonna go with the charcuterie board. The cheese and that sausage really
Cheese
hit.
was
Although I will
But
say,
the monkey bread was
I have won the food
So-
before. I have won
You
food
have.
before. So you could vote for me.
And I think that was at the end of the season when points didn't matter.
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah,
What are you saying? This is whose line is it anyway? I mean,
Yes.
at the end of the season. But during the season, points definitely
Go ahead
matter.
and make it the
Anyway,
last
we're-
episode.
We're getting to the point where points really matter now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fritters.
Which one? Peach or apple?
Peach.
Really?
I had an apple
It was
one.
good. So we got, what, 3 different votes?
3 different.
Yeah. Oh no.
That's a charcuterie board.
It's me is between monkey bread and charcuterie.
Well, Monkey Bread doesn't have a vote
No,
right now, which is surprising because
That was
very
so
good.
good.
very good.
I would've
No,
voted
it
monkey
was
bread.
good.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have voted.
Yeah, I'm going to go monkey
I'm sorry.
bread.
It was.
Well, it means
So
Aaron gets
charcuterie
it with
wins.
the charcuterie board.
Everything was so good, guys.
Yeah, it was
Seriously,
good,
that
yes.
pumpkin was so good.
Johnny, you kept saying there was
Cheesy
too
meat
much
today,
pumpkin.
I'm
I was
sorry.
like, no, it was
No.
definitely not too much
Have I
pumpkin.
ever had?
It was too much pumpkin for what I was going for.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a little bit too much for what you were going for too. I mean, I liked
But the
it.
consistency
Obviously.
was
the
there.
consistency
Oh my
was
gosh.
perfect.
Yeah.
I was okay with the amount of pumpkin, personally.
So was I.
Yeah, so was I.
All right. Well, guys, I know that things kind of spiced up this episode, but just imagine what's going to come next because we're only halfway through the season at this point.
And I just want to point out, Sam, this is the first for any of these characters, is face to face with multiple council members at the same time.
I think there's going to be a lot of character development or role playing next
Or
session.
death.
Thank you for rescuing me from those guys.
Oh my god!
I've been trying to reach you about your car's extended warranty.
I finally reached you guys.
About your dome's extended warranty.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bone Throwers Theater. Thank you for listening to Bone Throwers Theater. Our cast is Aaron, Ellie, Jeff, Jeremy, Johnny, and Jordan. We are releasing this podcast under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 3.0 Unported license. That means you can share the podcast, but please do not modify it or try to gain financially from it. If you would like to visit our website, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater.com. If you would like to send us an email, you can do so at bonethrowerstheater@gmail.com. Our Twitter handle is bonethrowerstheater. You can also look us up on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, may the bones fall ever in your favor. This has been a Nerd Circle podcast production.